We're here at American University's Bender Arena with American University head wrestling coach Teague Moore after a successful day at the American Duels. Eagles go 1-2 today, but coach, again, I think bigger picture on this, just a really fun event, kind of raising the scope of wrestling here in the DC area where your team got tested against 3 quality programs.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea behind this is seeing some programs that we don't normally see. Wyoming, obviously, coming out of the Big 12, and UNC out of the ACC. So yeah, it's exciting for us. I'm happy that things turned out like they did. You know, we're a few matches away from pulling off 2 wins, but hey, overall, some good individual things happened for us.
Yeah, you talk about some of those good performances today, and you know, you had 3 guys who have 3 wins in their matches. We're going to take a look at some of the highlights from these matches, but Josh Terrell, Esteban Gomez Rivera, and Jared Kasnick, all 3 of them have good performances. They talk a little about each of them.
Josh, it was tough for him to mentally get back up for this. He just had a really good Midlands tournament, knocked off some guys that were in front of him in the rankings, and to be able to get that momentum and that energy back up for today, because he has some quality opponents, we were really happy to see how he came out, and he fought hard throughout those bouts. Esteban, battling an injury over the last month, so he's been off the competition mat for about 5 weeks, and we didn't know what to expect. He's been working hard in the practice room, but when the whistles blow, you just never know if he's going to have his legs underneath of him or his lungs. And as the day went on, Esteban showed that he prepared well and he was ready to execute. Jarrett Kasnick, you know, I can't say enough about Jarrett. So yesterday, just to give a little bit of insight, yesterday Jarrett was sicker than a dog. He was really hurting. We had to make a decision where we were just going to sit him today and let him get healthy. But Jarrett, being the type of athlete that he is, he said, "Coach, look, I can get my weight down. I just want to make weight. I want the chance to wrestle tomorrow." And then sure enough, he comes out and pulls 3 wins today against his Army opponent is a good caliber, top 20 opponent. And for Jarrett to be able to pull that out, considering the circumstances he's coming in with, was pretty exciting.
Yeah, we see some of the highlights from the North Carolina match. North Carolina, a tough team, but you guys did have some good performances there, some really close losses in there as well. I know, obviously, you don't want that, but it's a good test. And how does it test your team going forward when they move into conference wrestling, they move into tournaments, and then of course ultimately maybe NCAA bursts?
So one of the ideas about tonight, and talking with the other 3 coaches that were here, when we go to conference tournament time, our athletes are going to be having matches back to back to back, right? When we get into this January, February, the dual part of season, a lot of times it's one way in, one match, and then you go and rest. And when things really count, your conference tournament and your national championships, you're going to warm up, wrestle a match, you're going to get a few hours, and then you're going to wrestle another match again. So we felt like for our teams and where our teams are at, this was a good mental test for us and a good physical test. And again, I feel like some of our guys came out of this with some really good positive things to take a look at.
I want to ask you about one more. Teague Sprague tonight, he loses the last match, but again had 2 really good performances. A young guy, how much improvement are you seeing from him as he moves through? Again, he had that hot streak to start the season. Seems like he's just building on it.
Yeah, he really is. He's just a sophomore, so you have to expect, I think with a lot of college wrestlers, and especially where Michael Sprague is at, he's going to go through some ups and downs. And tonight, he gets a big win against Wyoming. That was a good, solid, nationally ranked opponent. Really good for Michael, right? And what we're going to say after this is, okay, we do great there. Let's move to the 3rd match where we fall a little bit short, and that's a consistency item, whereas your young wrestlers usually have a little bit of trouble figuring that out. A great example of the opposite of that is Esteban. You know, he's a senior. He's been battle tested with days like this. So something Michael Sprague can look back on and say, okay, now I know I can go with those top 20 athletes in the country. Let's start doing it on a consistent basis. And when he does that, we just came back from the Midlands tournament where he knocked off the number 8 seed in the 1st round. So he's got the ability to do good things.
Teague, I asked your boss, Billy Walker, about this earlier. I asked you, how fun is it for you to kind of be spreading the gospel of wrestling a little bit here in the D.C. area when you get an event like this, all these nationally ranked teams, and let some folks come in and see how exciting high-level wrestling can be?
Right. It's I feel like Washington, D.C. doesn't get the credit that we need for the amount of wrestling fans that are here. There's a lot of wrestling transplants that are here in D.C., so showcasing the sport like this, I think, is a great thing, and it's something that we want to continue to grow here in Washington, D.C.
You're doing a pretty good job of it, doing a good job with your program. Teague Moore, head coach of the American University University wrestling team. A 1-2 finish today at a great event, the AU Duels. So glad to have it here as we wrap things up from Bender Arena. I'm Jeremy Huber saying good night.